or you'll be fine in a few months. So 12 years later, every time I tried to go off the meds, Lynn would say, honey, please go back on your meds.
No way.
Yeah, because it
How
was
hard was
bad.
that?
It was horrible. It was horrible.
Oh.
So I was just numb. By then, by 12 years on the antidepressants, you're just numb. You don't feel anything. It's just flatline, right?
Yeah, because those are meant to be a temporary till you get back on your feet thing.
Yeah, never got better. Just got worse. And the anxiety attacks, that was the worst part.
Yeah.
It was mostly for the anxiety attacks, but the medication actually makes you depressed over time.
Wait, I've seen that on like all the
Yeah.
commercials. It might cause all the things that we're trying to avoid.
Right?
Like I'm like,
Yeah, and it did.
what?
I know. So I was like super checked out of life. The panic attacks were actually breaking through the medication, so I was still having some panic attacks. And so I was working as a graphic designer. I had been working there, I think, for like maybe 5 years, and I was, spilling over all the yuck at work. I was depressed at work. I was uninterested. I didn't really want to do my work. Honestly, I spent like probably a couple hours a day on Facebook.
Just the scroll game, the
At
doom
work.
scrolling.
Yeah, doom scrolling.
Yeah.
So on January 12th, 2017, I remember very clearly my boss came up and he said, hey, Kelly, will you walk down to Joe's office with me? And I said, sure. And I was excited, something different. I wanted to get away from my desk, right?
Yeah.
It was a Friday and it was right before lunch.
Oh, I know. Oh, I know what that time means.
I didn't.
Ah. Did they have you write down your job description before you went down there? Because that's another big red flag.
No.
Write down what you do for us because we're not even sure.
That is terrible. No, thank goodness they didn't do that. So we go into the office and there's a big desk in the middle, and Joe, he's like the guy that ran the company. He wasn't the owner, but he was the guy that ran
The
it.
operator. Yeah.
And behind him, I don't know why they did this. I still don't know why they did this. Every boss in the company was standing behind him in a semicircle. So like every
What on
department
earth?
head, every manager, the CFO, the HR guy, like everybody. And I was like, what the?
What on earth?
So like my heart just dropped and I was like, this cannot be good. So they had this little tiny metal rickety chair facing the big desk. And Joe said, Kelly, come in, please have a seat. And like every alarm bell in my head was going off.
Yeah, it feels like the
I do
principal's
not-
office to the max.
I know. So I sit down in the chair and basically he says, you know what? We love you. You are so fun to be around. You're light up the office, but I hadn't lately because I was so depressed. You're so great at planning parties because I planned every work party.
No
you
joke.
know me.
Yeah, that
every
would be a
party
huge
was run
strength.
by me. So, however,
There it is. I was waiting for that boot. I was
However-
like, where is it? There it is.
you suck at your job now, and we think it's time for you to move on.
Wait, did they give you any kind of a personal improvement plan before that? Any kind of a warning? Any kind of a...
Nothing. But they did offer me a job doing spreadsheets in quality control for half the pay.
Ooh.
I never tell that part. It's so ridiculous.
That's adorable.
Of course, I'm not. So I have a complete breakdown. And I paraphrase. He didn't actually say I sucked. He was really nice about
Can you
it.
imagine? The HR person's right there like, actually, you suck so bad. And they're like, you're not supposed to say that.
But he did say, we think that it's time for you to move on.
Yeah.
He did say that.
Yeah.
And then we've got this option for you. And I was like, oh my gosh. So he said, take the weekend to think about it. You can take the rest of the day off. And on Monday, we'd like to have your decision. Are you done or are you going to take the spreadsheet job? Of course, there was no way I was going to take
Not for a visionary.
spreadsheet,
Are
right?
you kidding me?
I would have died. It would have been an early death. So here's the worst part, maybe. I don't know. It was terrible for me. My niece was getting married in Park City that weekend, and all my family was flying out to Salt Lake because nobody lives here but me.
Yeah.
And I had to go pick people up at the airport. That afternoon, that's all I did was pick up people at the airport, bawling my face off in between when nobody was looking at me. So I pick up my dad and my stepmom, and we're driving home, and all of a sudden I just burst out crying, and they're like, oh, what's wrong? So then I told them I got fired, and, you know, they, of course, were on my side, and what a jerk my boss was and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But, you know, it didn't help. So we have the wedding. My whole family's there. I'm trying not to think about being fired. Monday comes, and I don't even go in. I just call, and I say, you know what? If I had a spreadsheet job, it would suck the soul out of me. So I'm good.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
So that's the beginning. That's the pebble in the pond,
Yeah.
right? And then the ring started. So that was January 12th. And about 2 weeks later, I got an email offering me a ticket to a 3-day life-changing seminar.
Are there always 3-day life-changing
Yes.
seminars?
And, you know, I was in the pit of depression, so I said, oh,
Uh,
no, I do not want to spend time with a bunch of toxically happy people.
Toxic happy. You sound like Patch Adams. Do you remember that movie?
I've never seen it because I don't want to cry.
There's definitely cry parts in
Yeah.
there. But it's like every Robin Williams movie. It's hilarious for the first 60%, and then
Yes.
there's the life-changing lesson that slaps you in the face, makes you cry.
Right.
But there's the part where Patch Adams gets fired for being extensively happy.
Well, that's what I wanted to avoid. I didn't want to be around toxically happy people because I thought that sounded disgusting and like torture. So I said no. But you know that voice in your head that is so annoying.
Yeah.
and
The one that's
never
right all
shuts
the
up.
time.
The
Yeah.
one that's always right.
Mhm.
Yeah. It kept saying, Kelly, don't you think you could use a little life changing?
I don't know.
Dang it. No, shut up. So it took maybe 3 weeks for me to give in to the voice. So I registered. I got the tickets. And it was in March when I went. It
Mhm.
was a Kirk Duncan event, Master Your
Mhm.
Influence.
Mm-hmm.
And I got dressed in something other than pajamas for the first time in like a month and went to this. And oh my gosh, when it was at the Salt Palace, which scares me.
Uh-huh.
Not
It's
anymore,
gigantically huge.
But I used to be really scared of the Salt Palace. 'cause
Wait, you were
I would
scared
get
of the building?
lost.
Oh,
I couldn't find anything there ever. So I'm wandering
I
through
have
the
building
halls.
trauma.
Right, I have building trauma. Looking for the event. Finally, I hear this like low roar somewhere in the distance.
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
said, oh crap, I think I found it.
It's on the northwest side. You have to go through that really curvy long hallway.
Exactly.
And
That's
yep.
super weird. And I was like murderers could just jump out of
Oh
nowhere. Nobody would see because there's nobody here in this gigantic cavern of emptiness. Because that was the only event there that weekend.
Oh my gosh.
So I finally find it, and it's got the whole row of open doors, and I can just see the horror through every door. People dancing, people hugging each other, people laughing, people singing, and I was just like, oh, I can't do it.
The toxic happiness.
I can't handle it.
Which
But-
is so weird for you.
I know!
It's so weird for you
Right?
because this is who you are.
It's like Bizarro, Kelly.
Yeah.
So
The hell?
I know. It's so funny. So I brace myself and I go through the doors and it just hits me like a ton of bricks. You know, the high vibration energy rolling out of that room
Mhm.
was so different to my energy when I walked in the room.
Mhm.
It almost made me throw up.
Uh,
But so I stayed. I sat
That's
off.
what the weirdest sentence after that. Almost made me throw up. So I stayed. Like for real.
And I sat in the farthest corner I could sit in.
Closest to the door.
Yep. I
Yep.
was like, I do not want to be here. It's going to be horrible. And it was pretty horrible at first. He made us stare into strangers' eyes for 3 minutes straight. And I was like, why am I here? This is the most horrible thing ever. But by the end of day 3, I was crying because it was over. I know. Total 180
Yeah.
in that 3 days. And when I was
A
there,
life-changing seminar.
right? It really was a life-changing seminar. Seriously.
Damn it, the emails were right.
I know.
I love Kirk, and you're sharing the stage with him in a little
Oh
bit.
my gosh, right?
Right? Like, that's so freaking cool.
I know.
Kirk and Kim are
I'm
awesome.
free. I try not to think about it. because I freak out when I think about it.
It's so boss.
I'm so excited.
I love that.
Thank you. Oh, yeah. It's pretty awesome. Anyway, so do you remember Mandy Peck?
Yes. I run into her on Facebook every once in a while. Just
Yeah.
Name scrolls by.
So Mandy Peck was an ambassador for Limitless at the time.
Oh.
Do you remember that? And when they had ambassadors?
Mhm.
So I'm there at, I'm riding the train up, I think, on day 3 because I don't want to drive again. And Mandy rode the train with me, and I met her, and we were going to the same thing. So we kind of became friends. And at the end of it, she's the one I had to look into her eyes for 3 minutes. So at the end of it, she goes, if you liked this event, I know of another event that you would love. And I was like, give me. I want it all. I want to be here every day. So she gave me free tickets to Limitless. And so I went to the first one in April. That was my first one, April 2017. And it was
and that was up at where was that? Was that up in Salt Lake at the Radisson or, gosh, I'm trying to remember which location that was because we hopped all over. Yeah. But it was in Salt Lake, I think.
It was. Yeah. That one was in Salt Lake.
Yeah.
So that one was amazing. And it was like the other event on steroids.
Mm-hmm.
It's like so much more intense.
There's so much more eye gazing.
Yes. And like the tea light ceremony thing and breaking boards, walking on glass, all of that stuff. Yeah. I was just like, oh my gosh, where's this been all my life?
Yeah.
I loved it so much.
Yeah.
And I got pulled up on stage and processed the morning of day 1.
I remember that moment.
Oh
like
my
I'm getting
gosh.
goosebumps remembering that moment. I remember seeing you and I was like, it's one of those things where it's, you ever met someone and you're like not feeling like you're meeting them, you feel like you're remembering them?
Yes.
That's
yes.
what it felt like.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that.
It was beautiful.
So I had my breakthrough. And when it was all over, I was like, I want to live here. I can't not be at this event every day of my life.
Yeah. And
somebody from the team called me and said, hey, Chris Crone wants to know if you'd like to be a team leader for us. And I was like, what? Like I started crying. I was so happy. So I was like, yes, of course. So then I was a team leader for every single Limitless until it ended.
Yeah.
And
I remember you were there so consistently. And Jason, he's showed up consistently for the last 10 years. I just got a text from him this morning.
Amazing.
Incredible
he's
people.
Very dedicated.
Yeah.
So that's what kind of got me into I want to be a life coach because, helping all those people as a team leader, you help people do the arrow break. And do the
you get to see life change after life change. It's like popcorn.
Holy crap. It was amazing.
Yeah.
So that's why I decided I wanted to be a life coach. But then what I really wanted was to be the person on stage, changing lives up there with that microphone. And so that is, we started out doing Conscious Creator, one of the programs offered by Limitless, and then it ended before we were done. And so Chris said, hey, I will let you into Inner Circle for the rest of your time since we're closing Conscious Creator. And I said, Chris, could I instead go into Mentor Maker? And he was like, tell me, if you talk to the other people that are leaving Conscious Creator, see what they want, I might make that an option. So I did talk to the other people. I don't remember what happened, but somehow he let me in. He let me and Lynn into Mentor Maker. And that was the beginning of the end. That's the amazing, beautiful end.
Oh, that's exactly where you belonged. Honestly, that was designed for you.
I feel like it was.
Yeah,
totally.
It really was.
It was awesome. So that's where you taught me how to speak. And you made me cry every time, and I loved it. Because you were like, do it again. You made me restart my speech one time, I think like 8 times in a row. And I was just like, is she just trying to make me cry? No, you were just trying to make me do it right. And it was awesome. I loved that
pressure cooker.
So much.
Oh, I'll never forget that moment. That moment when it was one of the restarts, right? And we're in that room. And there's probably, it's an intimate group, probably like 12 of us in there.
Yeah.
Right?
I think, there were probably only 8 of us in there. That you, Tracy,
Justin, Delwyn. I don't even know if they were leading that time. And then a few other students.
Justin wasn't in there.
Was Marianne Adams in there? Because she was amazing.
She was always there.
Yeah. I think Tani had already graduated. It was a small group.
She might have. No, yeah, I think she wasn't in there, but it was not very many people.
Yeah.
But man.
But that moment. Intense. Did you watch Dead Poets Society? I always bring up this movie.
Yes.
Another Robin Williams movie.
I don't remember movies.
Tip of the hat to Robin. We miss you. But it's one of those that's funny for the first 60%. It'll break your heart the last 30%.
Yeah.
So this moment comes when he's teaching this boys' English class at a boys' school. So the class that every boy has to take and that nobody wants to take, especially the jocks. Right?
Oh, right.
So he says, I want you to write a poem for your homework and then bring it back to class. So he comes back to class and he approaches this kid and the kid's like, of course, I didn't do it. That's stupid. I'm not going to write a poem. Right?
Yeah.
And so Robin puts him up on stage and he says, I want you to share your poem. And he's like...
That he hadn't written?
Yeah. Here's what he did. He's like, the cat sat on the mat. And then he tries to get off and Robin stops him. And he extracts through persistence and relentlessness this epic, like goosebump feeling and emotion. And so that's what I wanted to bring into the pressure cooker experience is I've got to find the core. I've got to find the unmovable, unshakable, relentless Kelly inside of you that is so dedicated to her purpose and is so dedicated to this calling because there were people that showed up, and it happens in every program.
Oh, yeah.
People that paid to show up and say, oh, that was nice, and then do nothing. Yeah. And you weren't one of those people. No. You were one of the people that put everything on the line and burned every other bridge behind you and had no other option than to just freaking crush it, and you had to do whatever it took.
I burned the boats, Marianne.
You did burn the boats. Best decision ever. And which brings me back to your boss. He wasn't wrong.
No. I love him. Every time I see him now, I give him a big hug and say, thank you for firing me. He's like, you're so weird.
You're so weird. Is he still at that job?
He just retired.
Did he really?
Yeah. Lynn works there still. So at every company party that I go to, I go up and I'm like, Joe.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So I would never do what I'm doing today if you hadn't helped me get kicked out of the nest.
Wow.
Yeah.
I ran into my old boss. I used to work at Deseret Book. Ran into my old boss. It's been 20 years since I worked there. He's still there, plugging away. One day I had aspired to be as successful as he was. And then I went back and ran into him. I was like, hey, how's it going? And the energy surprised me. Yeah. Because it was like this thing of, it was almost embarrassment in a way, right?
Ooh,
and maybe I'm misinterpreting it, but it was this feeling of like, I have moved on to something I love, and I don't know that if he feels that he has, right?
Probably not if he's still doing the same thing 20 years later.
I hope he really loves it. If that's what he's doing 20 years later, and if he's listening, I'm like, all the love in the world. If you're loving what you're doing, more power to you.
Yes.
Right? But for me, I could not imagine not moving on.
No.
That's not what I would love to do.
Do you feel like, have you experienced this? As you work for your goals and you reach these crazy dreams and you keep leveling up, that you lose friends.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, me too.
There's some tragedy in that, I think.
It's sad.
And there's, I think there's some friends that will always want to grow with you.
Yeah.
Right? I saw this graphic.
Thankfully, there are.
Yeah.
I have some that are like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah, and we pull each other up. I saw this graphic once. It was like a painting on a set of stairs in some, I don't know where it was, but it was the concrete stairs, and then there was a silhouette of these people climbing the stairs and helping each other up. And so I'm like, there's, it was like this visual of the people that I want in my world that will push me up to my next level and then climb up, and I'll help them up. And then maybe our roles are switched on the next one, and I'm pushing them up to their next level, and we're just climbing together, right? And then there are people that are like, I like this stair.
See you later.
I'm just going to stay right here,
right?
Yeah. And sometimes that separation deserves to be mourned.
Yeah.
And sometimes, honestly, it's like, I forgot we were on the same stair once upon a time.
Yeah.
You know, like, I hope you're doing well, but that stair is so a decade ago that.
Yeah, exactly.
How do I know you? Like, that feels really rude to say, but we've forgotten about each other. We've drifted. And it's one of those people you see them at the grocery store. Happened to me just the other day. I was at the grocery store and I saw this person, and in my brain, when I see a face I recognize, I'm instantly like, oh my gosh, hi, how are you? Even though maybe our relationship was terrible. Can I tell you about the most embarrassing version of this?
What?
What's so bad? This is so embarrassing. So, and the reason I do that is because I never know if it was from an event or not. And I always want to like give positive juju to everyone that I'd ever interacted with. Right. So we're at Jimmy Rex's fireworks show that he puts on every year.
Okay.
Biggest, like, it's amazing. Thousands of people show up to the park. Have you been to these?
No.
4th of July, it's the sickest place to be.
Where does he do
It's
it?
at Vineyard Park.
Okay.
Right down the road here. And he brings bouncy houses. He brings food trucks. The fireworks show is amazing. It's like an hour long. He puts on such a good show. Anyway, so like most of Utah County's there. And I see this person walk by and I recognize the face. So I do what I do and say a cheerful hello.
Yeah.
And then I didn't get it back.
Oh.
And I was like, that's what I did on the inside. I was like, what? How? Maybe that's not someone I know from an event. And I'm thinking about it. I'm sitting with my family and it hits me. I used to date him.
Awkward.
Mm-hmm. And it was not a pretty breakup either. And now I'm like, hey, this toxic happiness. And no wonder he gave me the biggest crusty in the world. I was like, what just happened? Anyway, that's a sidebar.
That is awkward.
You're right. People sometimes come with us and people sometimes don't. But there are people on the stairs that are above us that are, and see, here's the thing. I was just thinking about this morning, this pedestal syndrome. Oh. Have you experienced this?
Yes.
Tell me about it.
Other people putting you on one, or you putting other people on?
Both, because both of them suck.
They do. It's like, it's too much pressure when you're the one on the pedestal.
What is it like for you and people have this pedestal thing with you?
I don't know what to do with it. Like, it's so weird and awkward.
Yeah.
And like, part of me is like, wow, okay, yeah, I've done a lot for them to think that, right?
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I still am not crushing it in so many areas. Please don't think that I am all there is, because I am not. I am still totally working on a million things. I've just done good in a few things that are very visible. So please don't act like I'm a famous actress.
But you are.
Right? When I was 5, that's what I wanted to be.
No kidding.
I wanted to be a movie star.
Well, now I think you're doing something better.
I do too.
Yeah.
Same result, kind of.
Yeah. You're affecting lives for the better on a stage.
Yeah, right?
I've actually had a couple, Rachel Brooks Smith, she's actually plays in movies, and I had her on the show recently and talked about how she affects lives through the screen. Yeah. You know, it's kind of a cool thing. But this pedestal syndrome thing is really interesting. There are people that I have wanted to do business with.
Yeah.
But I won't because there's a pedestal separation.
Oh.
Right? Yeah. Like, if people put me on a pedestal, this sounds like it's full of ego. It's not. But when people, who was it? Was it Salt that talked about this pedestal syndrome as well? Salt Garrison. It might have been him. It might have been another beautiful guest. Do you remember?
I just don't remember. No, I'm sorry.
That's all right. So here's what he's doing. He said, when people come up to you and they're fangirling really hard, like, oh my gosh, Kelly, I love you so much. Can we talk later? I'm going to be your friend. Like, what's your instinctual reaction?
Boundaries.
Right? You're like, backing off, like danger.
Yikes.
So someone, I gotta remember who this was. I believe it was Salt. He said, when we do this with other people, it causes this separation. Yeah. And when we do this with our goals, right? It causes a separation.
What the heck?
So if we're like, oh my gosh, I wish I had $1 million to put in my bank account right now, I'd be like, I would cry so hard. That $1 million doesn't want you.
Because you're fangirling it.
Because you're fangirling it.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
That is profound.
So like goal stages that we have, or goal podcasts that we have, or goal guests that we have, or whatever, if we do this, then it causes this repulsion.
Wow.
From the goal, from the money, from the car, from the whatever.
Yeah.
And so when people do that to me in this world, it kind of breaks my heart a little bit, because they're in their minds, the reason that they're doing that is because they think they're not as good as.
Yeah.
And that is heartbreaking.
They're not a peer.
Yeah.
I want them to be peers.
Yeah.
Act like I'm a normal person.
Yeah. Like come play
the sandbox. Because I am a normal person.
I've, like you said, I've got work and stuff I'm working on. I got plenty of flaws. And then, there are doors that have opened because I've kicked the pedestal down in my brain from people who I thought were better than me.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm just like, I get to hang out with incredible people who, no doubt, they are incredible.
Yeah.
But I see the pros and cons of being in their world, and I still say yes. And that's what has made it so beautiful.
That's really good. I struggle with that still.
Really?
With people that I think are, like, up above me. Probably, and I am probably putting them on pedestals.
We all still do this.
Like, how could I give them any value at all? It would just be one way. If I did anything, if I talked to them or interacted with them, I feel like it would just be one way.
Yeah,
them giving me value and them wondering why is she talking to me? That's something I'm still working on.
I think we all take our turn.
Yeah,
doing that. If Gary Vee were to come over to my house and be like, wow.
Right?
Hi, homie. Like, what are we doing today? That's weird.
I wish Gary Vee would show up at your front door. That would be amazing.
One day.
Call me, Kelly. Get over.
Now it's going to happen one day, and I'm going to have to call you back like, Kelly, it happened.
We just spoke it
it's
into
here.
Reality.
We did.
It's happening.
Careful what you manifest.
Speaking of manifesting, that's where I went for years.
It was.
Remember?
So tell me about that.
You
started with the podcast of Queen of Manifesting. You had this card deck that went along with it. What was the cause? Yeah. Like, tell me all about all that.
So it was from going to one of Chris's events, Conscious Creators, where we did the firewalk for the first time. And, he teaches you are basically creating your entire reality by what you talk about and think about, all of that. And I was like, I want to experiment with that. And so I started doing manifesting experiments.
I love it. You're like testing the universe.
Yeah, exactly. So I wanted this split end trimmer. It's a gadget. It kind of looks like a flat iron, but it's really big.
Oh, yeah. And it rolls it and it goes.
Yeah. Snips
I remember
off
those.
the tips. So I wanted one really bad because, I'm slightly hair obsessed.
Well deserved. You have fabulous hair.
Thank you. So I really wanted it. And I said, okay, I'm not going to spend money on it. I'm just going to manifest it. I'm not going to manifest the money for it. I'm going to manifest that. And so I went on Amazon and I picked out one that I loved. There was a really cute red one. And I printed out a picture of it, put it on my vision board. And every day I imagined my beautiful split end free hair. My smooth, beautiful, shiny hair.
Look at Richard's face right now.
We're such girls.
Oh, we totally are. Oh, and this manifesting thing sounds totally woo-woo.
It does.
But it's not. It's not.
Real,
I manifested him using the same thing.
See?
100% I did.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you had this creepy picture of me on your wall for months before you even met me.
Not true. Not true. Although, have I ever told you about my malas that I did like recitations of like, I married Richard Dickman, I married. I did.
Wow.
Did I ever tell you that?
No.
It's that green mala upstairs. It's the ruby and zoisite mala. And I wore that every day while we were dating and like counted the beads and recited like, married you. Yeah, I know.
Wow.
How do you feel about that?
I won in the end.
Aww.
I still won in the end.
Good answer.
So sweet.
Me too. Okay, back to I want to hear about your
so every day
trimmer.
I imagine my smooth, beautiful hair, and then I would listen for any like nudges or action steps, anything to come to mind. Because that's what I thought manifesting was. You imagine having it with gratitude and then you listen for action steps, which is basically what manifesting is.
Yeah.
And so I kept getting this action step and going, no, I'm not doing that.
What was it?
Oh my gosh, it was so bad. It was email the guy on Amazon selling the one that I wanted, that red one that I wanted, and say, can I have it for free if I do a video review? And I kept saying, that is so greedy and entitled. Who do I think I am? I can't send somebody that message. It makes me look like an entitled brat.
This is so funny. We got your shoulder angel over here. This is how you do it. And then you have your shoulder devil over here. Like, you're you suck.
Exactly. So this went on for 2 weeks. Every day I'd look at it. I'd imagine my beautiful hair and I'd say, what can I do? Email the guy. And I was like, no. So finally, after 2 weeks of me saying no, I said, fine, I'll do it and look like an idiot. So I emailed the guy And his answer was, I'm sorry, that's illegal.
What?
I could lose my Amazon store if I do that. And I
don't think
wanted the ground to swallow me up because he proved my shame of being entitled, right? But then he wrote me back and he said, however, it was $100. I could send you a coupon for $99 and you could buy it for $1. And I would love a video review. And I was like, yes. So I did spend $1.
Worth it.
On it. Yeah, it was worth it. As soon as I got it, I opened it up. I did a video review and I put it on Amazon. I put it on YouTube and linked it to that. And it was awesome.
That's pretty cool.
So that was my first experiment with manifesting.
Right. Let's just see if this works.
Yeah. So then I tried it on other things like I got sick every winter my whole life until I started manifesting that I would be well all year long. And I said, my body is healthy and my immune system keeps me healthy all year long. That winter, I never got sick. Wow. I always had at least two sinus infections and one flu every winter. That was 2017.
Quite the regimen.
That winter, I never got sick the whole winter. And I was like, oh my gosh, this works on health. It works on beauty products.
It works on beauty products.
It was amazing. So then I started speaking on it.
Yeah.
So my first speech was on depression, overcoming depression, because that's what I had just done, right?
Yeah.
And then I started speaking on manifesting. And I ended up getting invited to speak in London at a business conference for women on how to manifest clients, because that was my topic. I was, niching down, because manifesting's huge.
It is, and it's
so woo.
Well, yeah, it's woo, and it's huge. But there's woo audiences. But that's the thing, like. I think the more potent you can be, the better the stilettos,
Right? So I narrowed it down to manifesting clients. So I got invited to speak in London. And I was sitting at my computer like maybe 2 weeks before I was flying to London. And I thought, you know what? When I teach manifesting, about half the audience gets it and about half the audience has that glazed look. I'm going to London, for crying out loud. I want it to be a smash hit.
How did you get booked for that?
Oh, there's this guy that does events in London, and he's just always looking for speakers from America because they love Americans. And I thought they hated Americans.
Yeah, we had a big fight about it about 300 years ago.
They loved me. They are like, your accent is awesome.
Our accent's awesome.
They loved me and my accent. And
you're adorable.
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, I need this guy's number because I have so many students.
I will give you his number.
I would love to connect with him.
Okay. So anyway, I thought, I was sitting at my desk praying. I was like, God, please give me a better way to teach manifesting, because you're the one that told me to teach it, right? So make it easier. And so God said to me in my head, you know what, Kelly? The way you manifest are the exact same steps as ordering food from a drive-through.
Okay.
And I said, what?
Okay, that wasn't clear to me up front either. I'm glad you asked a clarifying question on that.
I said, that's manifesting is epic. Ordering food from a drive-through is mundane and stupid. And he's like, yeah, just think about it. So I thought about it, and I actually went through a drive-thru.
I was wondering if you would do that. Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, it is literally exactly the same. So step 1, decide where you want to go in the drive-thru version. Step 1 in manifesting, decide what you want. And then step 2 is visualize it with gratitude. So in the drive-thru, when you pull into the drive-thru that you've chosen to go to, what is there?
Oh, there's pictures.
Yeah.
And there's like the juicy, it looks so yummy.
So you picture it with gratitude that you're eating it because it's so delicious.
You're so hungry and you're anticipating it. Yeah.
Uh-huh. So step 3.
This is cool.
Is put your order in to the universe. You have to speak it out loud.
Yeah.
And in a drive-thru, what happens if you don't lean out your window and speak out loud what you want? Right? Nobody knows what you want, so you don't manifest food.
You. Oh, I'm all about Mrs. Swan. Remember that?
So that's
have more hamburger.
So step 4 is shut up and listen. Or in a drive-thru, leave your window down, leave your radio off, because they're going to say something back to you.
Yeah.
Like, we're out of this. Do you want this instead?
Or you want fries with that?
Pull forward to window 1, or or do you want fries? Whatever.
That's 539 cents.
There's always something they've got to tell you. So shut up and listen. And then step 5 is receive the instruction. So that's where they say, okay, it's this much, pull forward to the window, right?
Yeah.
And then step 6 is take the action step you were just given. Or in the drive-through, pull forward to window 2. And
you got to do it. Yeah.
So I was like, dang it, it is literally exactly the same as getting food from a drive-through. And I was not excited about that because I thought it was boring and mundane. I wanted it to be super epic.
But it's relatable.
It is so relatable.
Everyone has gone through the drive-through.
So I completely rewrote my speech. And when I went to London, I gave the new one for the first time. Every head had a light bulb go off.
Don't you love it when you can feel that?
It. It was so awesome.
You watch the audience and there's no black holes. Everyone's with me. This is sick.
They were all with me. It was amazing. And they were from all different countries. Like, I was a little intimidated.
Yeah.
Because, like, what if people from this country don't like me? Or what if people from that country don't like me?
You know what I'm worried about is like, what if I make this hand gesture?
Yes.
And it's offensive in that country and I don't know.
Exactly. And they don't call it drive-through in England. They call it takeout.
Yes, they call it that in Bluey, too.
So, like...
Ask me how I know.
It's a British show.
No, it's an Australian show.
Oh, there you go. See?
Show. Yes.
Takeaway.
Takeaway. That's what it is.
Not takeout. Takeaway. So, yeah, it was a smash hit in London, and I was so happy. So I came home and I wrote the book. I started the podcast, and I just kind of became famous for manifesting. And somebody else called me the Queen of Manifesting, and I thought, yeah, I'm going to own that. So I made it the name of my LLC, and I changed, my podcast was called The Queen of Manifesting. So I became the Queen of Manifesting for a long time. But unfortunately with manifesting, sometimes you attract people that are not really living in reality.
That was a nice way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So I found that I was attracting some clients that I didn't really
that were
enjoy
meant for somebody else.
Yes, they were meant for others.
Else. Yeah. I had a client tell me at an event that they found me on a medicine journey and found the event on a medicine journey. And that may have been true. Wow. I can't judge. But it was like, oh, are you sure it was me? Because okay, we'll see how this rolls out.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. And it wasn't just me. They were talking about other people too. But it was kind of like, that was a new one.
Yeah. I did some manifesting events, and mostly they were good, but sometimes they just went so off track.
But it just teaches you to niche in a different direction or tighter or whatever the case may be. It's very educational when you find like, okay, there's a lot of people, but they're not my perfect people.
Yes.
They're meant for somebody else.
Exactly. And it's really good for helping you get clarity on what you want when you get what you don't want.
Yep.
It's really good for clarity. So I got really clear because a lot of people were asking me, well, how did you become a speaker so fast? How have you spoken?
There's your hints.
Right?
Yes.
I was getting the hints. And when I went to London the first time, 3 other people there that do events invited me to come speak at their event.
No kidding.
So I went back in February. So the first time was November 2019. I went in February 2020, which we all know what happened. I was lucky to get out of
I was going to
England.
say, like that was right on the edge. Sheesh.
So I went there for those events, came home, and then the world shut down, and it was horrible. And we did everything by Zoom for a year.
Were you doing cruises by then?
Oh, yes. Sadly, I started my cruises in 2019. So 2022 got canceled in 2020. And 2021, we had 7 people.
Yeah. The cruises were a big thing because that's where the initial outbreak kind of manifested. Sorry to use that word for that, but that's what happened,
That is what happened.
But so you're still back into cruises now. Not to sidebar, but
I never stopped. I just kept booking them and hoping the ship would let us get on.
Oh, okay.
So I have had at least one cruise booked every year since 2019.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I know. It is super awesome.
We're going to circle back to that because I want people to know how to do that. But when you started shifting from manifesting to speaking, tell me that transition.
Okay, so more and more people were asking me, how did you become a speaker? Teach me that. How did you speak in London? Teach me that. How do you decide what to speak on? Where do you find places to speak? How do you hold your own events? So I thought, wow, okay, the universe is telling me I need to change directions. Mm-hmm. And I had a lot of internal resistance to that because how long had I been speaking? Not
years.
Very long.
Years?
Not really.
What, like 3 years?
Yes, 3 years. Okay, I guess. I felt like I needed to be speaking like 20 years to be teaching it. So, you know, my little negative voice was like, oh, you don't know enough yet. You don't know enough yet. You're not far enough along yet. But, you know, the nudges kept coming louder and louder. And I was like, fine, as I am, you know, like going to that first event. Fine.
It's the way you do life.
Fine, I'll go. So that's what I did. And I had some speaking events, and I offered some people some speaker coaching, and you know, it slowly, in spite of my resistance, it slowly grew, and now that's all I do.
Yeah.
Now I only do speaker training, and I love it.
That you're so good at it too, and that just made. This is what I wanted to really just talk about, because a lot of people, we do the same thing. We both train speakers.
Yes.
And I know that there are people out there that would be so threatened by that. Like, we can't even do the same podcast, Judy. We see the same thing. We might steal each other's clients. What the hell? Like, I don't do that.
Right.
And you don't do that either.
No.
You know, how do you get over the competition hump when, or maybe you don't have to get over it. Maybe it's just not on your radar.
Yeah.
But tell me about that, because I'm interested in your perspective.
I did have to get over the competition hump because I felt it at first. Like, I can't encroach on other speaker coaches' territory, or they're going to be mad and they're going to like start this war with me. You know, I don't know where I get all this.
Well, because people do that sometimes.
It has happened.
Some people show up that way.
So that was part of the resistance too, you know, that there's these other like big speaking coaches in Utah, some of which have done training on me. So they might be really mad if I suddenly start saying I'm a speaker trainer, right? So I did have to get over some of that competition fear, but, and this is a huge but, there are people that will be drawn to me. There are people that will be drawn to you. Uh-huh. There'll be people that will be drawn to the other one. And that's the person that they need. Yeah. Because they have the right energy type. They have the right teaching type. They have the right accountability type that matches them. And so we can't all have every single client in the world, because only a percentage of them will be a good fit for us and actually get them the results they're really looking for and really relate with the coach. So when I could internalize that there's certain people that are just, they're going to be mine. There's certain people that are going to be yours. Certain people that are going to be the other person's. I know there's more than 3 coaches in Utah.
That one other person.
But in general, you know, you attract the people that you can help the most, and your people are your people, and their people are their people, and everybody gets to have their own journey. Yeah. Like, if I had to go get all my speaker training from, like, I don't know, somebody I didn't relate with at all, I would probably not do it.
Yeah.
You got to find the person that matches you both directions. So that's how I got over the competition hump.
Yeah.
There's people meant for me, and there's people meant for somebody else.
Well, and I think also there's people meant for you in stages, right? Like, exactly. When I first started training, I went to Kirk. He was the first one. I was sitting in his event, and I was pregnant with my son, and I felt the kick in the gut of like, you're supposed to do this, right? Yeah. And Kirk was a first stepping stone for me. And then I learned from other people. It's not that I had one speaker coach.
Right.
You know, I did the circuit, and I'm still learning. I went to a speaker conference in January where I got to learn from people. You know, no one has figured it out. Everyone's making this up. You know, we were just listening to a podcast, Modern Wisdom, right? Was it Modern Wisdom we were checking out?
Yeah, Modern Wisdom, where Alex Hormozi was on there.
Yeah. And he was saying, like, everyone's just making this up. No one really knows.
That's a good point.
You know, we're all doing this for the first time.
There is no Bible speaking.
Nope.
We're making it up as we go.
We really not even just speaking, business in general. Yeah. Everyone is doing the fake it till you make it. Everyone at the top, they're all idiots. That's what they were talking about on this podcast. Everyone at the top, they're all idiots. Everybody, nobody really knows what we're doing. We're all just trying stuff until something works.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So I love the collaboration. Yeah. That's why I was so stoked to just do this episode and then do our event together. Like it is so the coolest thing for me to see. And I just celebrate everyone that's winning every step of the way. I don't do the stupid competition. Well, even though my speaking thing is a competition, but it's
right. And I do those too. They're really fun.
Yeah.
It's fun to hold speaking competitions.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And it's so fun to see people speak for the first time and the nerves. And I got it. And part of me is like, oh,
proud mama moments.
Good job. I love those. Right? Oh my gosh. So tell me about the cruises. I know that you're doing these in perpetuity.
Yes.
Is it for, you said it's for speakers, right?
Yeah. Designed for speakers. You speak on the ship. And I am trying to figure out a way to speak to the whole ship. So I am in talks with the talent agent for Royal Caribbean to work out a way where we can set up at least just one time where we speak to the whole ship. But
half of them will be drunk. You know this, right?
Yeah, of course.
If not more.
Of course they will be.
Okay.
But right now we
mix the woo-woo with the booze. Like, let's go. They're like, you're amazing.
Standing ovation, and then they tip over.
And the boat doesn't help. I mean,
I don't know how the ice skaters do it. The ice skaters skate on the ship.
I've seen grand pianos slide across floors on those things. Are you kidding me? Putting blades on your feet?
It's insane.
I've never done a cruise, if you can believe that. I've never been on a cruise.
We need to fix that.
Yeah, agreed.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay, tell me more. I interrupted you.
It's okay. So right now we have however many days at sea we have. Sometimes we have 2, sometimes we have 3. We do a speaking workshop where we do a little bit of training and then everybody speaks and gets feedback. And so that's the speaking portion. And then every night at dinner, we all sit together. They seat us together in the dining room. And that is the most hilarious time of day always because we're all insane and crazy.
Yeah.
And so that's always fun. And then we have a game night, a couple nights where I rent the whole conference room all day long. So we can have our workshops in the morning. And then if like somebody needs a coaching session or something, we go do that in the afternoon. And then the evening we go do game night in there if we want. Everything's optional. I don't make people speak. It's optional.
That'd be weird to buy a speaking cruise and then not speak, but that's okay.
Some of the spouses that come don't speak, but some of them do. Like not even somebody that wants to be a speaker. They just think it looks so fun. They're like, I want to do it.
Go for it.
So we have spouses get up and give speeches, and it's the cutest thing ever. I love it.
That's awesome.
I know. So they happen every January. And I started in 2019, my first cruise. Do you remember what it was?
I want to say
it relates to your hair.
The Beach Caribbean?
Mermaid.
The Mermaid Cruise. That's right.
Because you have mermaid hair right now.
I remember that. I forgot that's, oh my gosh.
I know. That was my first attempt. Because as a graphic designer, I make travel books with this travel agent. Like I do the layout and stuff of her travel books. And I said, is there a way that I could cruise for free? Because I went on 2 cruises before, and I was just like, I want to live on a cruise ship. So I asked her, is there a way I could do a cruise for free? And she's like, oh my gosh, yeah, it is so easy. So she taught me how to do a group cruise where everything's paid for me. I don't pay anything to go.
Yeah, yeah.
And so my first one, I had just started the mermaid business. Remember the bags I brought to Limitless with the sequins?
With the up and down sequins?
Yes.
Yeah, yep. About that same time, I made mermaid necklaces for the farmer's market. Do you remember that?
Yes.
We were both doing it at the same time.
That's so funny. We've always kind of been in sync.
In parallel.
It's really weird.
Yeah.
We're definitely connected.
I have to tell you, though.
What?
I'm going to interrupt your story again because I don't think I've ever told you this.
What?
There was a time in my life where I had a significant amount of envy. Because you had started...
Of me?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
No.
Yes. Because you had started doing something on your own and you were teaching and you were going on these cruises and I was like, hot damn, what am I doing wrong?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I was like, she's out there. She's doing it. She's creating a brand for herself. She's creating a name for herself. She started the podcast. And here I am working at W2. And I was grateful for everything I got to do at that job. And I was grateful for all the stages I got to take at that job. I have so many beautiful things that happened there. And there was this side branch of envy that's like, I want to do that. Why am I not doing that? Why am I not doing that?
That's
Damn
amazing.
it. And I envied that for a long time. I have a huge amount of respect for what you've built.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
That's
and
amazing.
So many people are being blessed because of it.
Thank you. I got to tell Lynn. Because Marianne told me. Oh my gosh. That's awesome. It's weird and also heartwarming to hear that like your idol and mentor has ever been jealous of you.
Stop the idol and mentor thing. Golf.
You're definitely my mentor, and you started out as my idol.
Well, I was
At
just
Limitless, you were my idol.
I was stoked that what you proved that what we were making works.
Thank you.
You did. And you
love that.
took it and you made something impactful out of it, and you created a business with it. And you were the proof of concept that says, yes, this means something. She's gone on and she's been successful with it. She's made money doing it. She's helped other people doing it. Maybe there's something here. That's awesome. And because you went off and did that, like that's honestly, I have to tell you, like in days when business has been hard.
Yeah.
And when I don't know if I'm finding my people, and we always have those days. We always will, because we always want to improve. I always go back to, but look what Kelly did.
Oh my gosh.
I do. Ask Richard. Like I'm like, but look what Kelly did, and look at what she's doing, and look how far she went with it. And if we can find more people that have the fire in their bones like Kelly did, those are the people.
Wow.
And then Marianne Adams did the same thing. She went on and won a bunch of awards at Toastmasters. Yeah. And I wonder what she's up to now. I haven't talked to her in a long time.
I haven't either.
I think she's still speaking. Like what you've done has just been so impressive and so beautiful. And you will always have a cheerleader in me.
Yay. Thank you.
Yeah.
I do consider you my main mentor of everybody.
That's a deep honor.
You're the one that got me the farthest, and you're the one that pulled the deepest out of me.
We do that for each other.
You're the one that made me cry the most.
You know those things like describe what you do, but do a bad job of describing it.
Speaker coaches are really good at that answer because it can sound horrible.
I make people cry and then they have to pay me to make them stop. So it sounds so terrible.
It's awesome.
Richard's over here.
I like to say I dragged 32 people out to the middle of the ocean to make them face the world's biggest fear for 7 days.
Oh, that sounds fun. Sign me up.
Right? That's what I say for the cruise. And then I say, and after a week, I release them back to civilization with a tan and a plan.
Yeah. With a tan and a plan. That's cute. I like that.
It's fun.
So where are you going to go from here? What's your big, hairy, audacious?
Right now it's a TED Talk.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I have applied for 7, been turned down for 6. I haven't been turned
down for the 7th. And you're like, excuse me, do you know who I am? I spoke in London, bitches. Yes, like now you have to put the explicit tag on this. Sorry.
Oops.
It's my podcast. I can do what I want, but now there's a little E on there for explicit.
For the B word.
Yeah.
That's funny. I've been really careful not to swear.
It's my podcast. You can do what you want.
All right,
I don't care.
All right.
He's making a note right now. Remember that?
He's taking a note. That's awesome.
Okay, big, hairy, audacious. TED Talk.
TED Talk.
That's a no-brainer. That's going to head your way, no problem.
And also, I want my own TV show.
Really?
I'm trying to figure out, like, what format. Like, maybe, like, America's Got Talent, but for speaking. I think that could be so fun.
Count me in.
Really?
Yeah.
We can host it together.
Imagine if we had, like, the 4 judges with the turnaround chairs and all that. Like,
don't you think that'd be an amazing show?
That would be so fun.
Do you think we could get an audience for that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you imagine for the same reason that people watch America's Got Talent? They want to see the people that have changed their lives in 2 minutes.
Yes.
And they also want to see the people that maybe shouldn't.
Are deluded a little bit.
Yeah. You know that they do this. The producers pick where they pick people that have zero talent whatsoever. And it's like the best and the worst, and they put them on stage even though they are not competition at all.
Yeah.
Like, and I hate to say that because I believe in everybody's ability to go for what they want. But we all suck at one point. If you put my first videos up on there, I couldn't even say my name without stuttering. Like, it was I've represent. It was so bad.
I loved your videos with the short curly blonde hair. I remember when you started making those with Nathan.
Oh yeah,
those videos were good.
Yeah,
are those the ones you were talking about?
Oh, it was that and before that, and they were special. They were. Oh so my gosh, special.
That's my dad's word. Like if he thinks something is terrible and ridiculous, he'll say special, and then he'll be like
the wink
special.
If you're not watching this on YouTube, go watch it on YouTube. But like mine is you know WTF, right?
Yes. Well, that's fantastic.
That's what I say. That's totally what I say. Whenever I have a WTF, I'm like, wow, that's fantastic. So now everybody knows. If I ever say that around you, you know what I really mean.
That is so funny. I love that we both say the same words for that one.
Wow, that's fantastic. Lots of laughs.
I love it.
Okay, but there's got to be something beyond TED Talk because that's a platform that'll launch you.
Yeah, maybe not my biggest one. That's
it's a next one.
The one I've been working on for 2 years.
Yeah. Oh, you'll get there, no doubt.
And I've talked to people that do TED now.
Yeah.
Like I'm getting better at asking the right people.
Yeah.
And so what I've learned is that my topic needs to match their theme better.
Okay.
And that my topics just haven't been matching.
Did they give you feedback on the rejection?
No, never.
They never tell you why?
Some don't even answer. I've applied 7 times, and I think 2 have actually told me no, thank you.
And they just don't say
why.
The
others don't even respond. And they say in the application, we have so many applicants. If you're not chosen, we probably won't even respond.
Wow.
So they do tell you.
What if you created your own TED stage?
You know, I've thought about that.
Why not?
But you can't speak on your own. I looked at the rules.
You don't need to if it's your own stage. No, I'm not talking about a TED branded stage.
Oh.
Why don't you create like the Kelly Walker stage? And then now you're the next TED.
Ooh.
Right? And people want to come to your stage. That's what I do whenever I get kicked out of stuff. I'll just make my own, right?
Like that's a good idea.
Yeah. If you want a TV show, I mean.
Yeah. I do want a TV show. Yeah.
Do it. Manifest it. I'll help you. It'll be fun.
Oh, I like that idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's create the stage that people want to be on.
Yeah.
Because TED is a big bit, and I have huge respect for the TED stage. In fact, that's one of my goals too.
Nice.
Even though it seems like, do I want to spend my is it a distraction or is it a credibility thing? You know, whatever. But I'm like, why don't we create just a different one? Why don't we create a platform for people that's equally as good? TED needs someone to compete with.
Yeah.
Because they're just going to get better.
That's a good point. Make our own.
Yeah. When Gary Vee knocks on my door, that'll be why.
Gary, when are you coming?
She checks her watch.
It's September 4th. Gary's going to be here within a month.
Oh, really?
By October 4th, he's going to knock on your door.
Wow. That's some. Did you hear that? The Queen of Manifesting just brought Gary Vee to my house.
Well, you started it.
Oh, well, that's true.
You spoke it into reality.
Yeah, I'll be like, Gary, can you hold on a second? I gotta call Kelly. Give me just a second. Come on inside. I'll get you a drink.
That's so funny. I talked about Gary Vee last night too. We were talking about making your own ChatGPT, making your own GPT.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking, if I made my own ChatGPT, who would I want to
be on the other side?
The inspiration, the voices and the ideas.
Yeah.
And that Gary Vee would definitely be one of the people in my ChatGPT.
You know what fascinates me about him is I found him when he was making a name for himself using a lot of crass, colorful language, right? And I think he was controversial in that way because of that. But he has changed the sound of his music recently. And you've probably listened to his things, but he's not, the reason that people listen to him now isn't because he's in your face with swearing up a storm.
Yeah.
It's because of the deeper message behind what he's saying.
Yeah.
And it's because of the encouragement. And it's because of the generosity.
Yeah.
It's the lack of competition. It's because of the simple, he's simplifying things and he's making it accessible for people. And I have a huge amount of respect for him for that.
Yeah.
And I admired him who he was before, but I think he's so much more empowering now.
Yeah.
That he's not becoming famous because of the language choices.
Yeah. Shock value isn't really something you can maintain forever.
No, it's not. No, the flash in the pan is there and then it's gone. But he's proven that you can maintain something beyond that, which is really powerful. I saw him on the Limitless Arena stage. Did you ever go to the Limitless Arena?
I've never been to that.
Oh, you would love it.
Really?
You have to be at the next one.
Okay.
Like, we should go.
Okay.
I'm going to be at every one. But Keaton puts on such an incredible show. And I was just talking, I had him on the show, on the podcast, just before we did. We just did it last week. And he said the next Limitless Arena isn't going to be 30 headliners, right? It's going to be him. Am I allowed to tell who he has invited next? I don't know if I'm allowed to tell.
Yeah, I would probably just keep that.
Okay. You will know the name. It's a household name.
You can tell me when we
I'll tell you off the podcast. But he's got him, and he wants to have 3 other speakers, and that's it.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, that is. The reason I went to the first one is because it was so jam-packed with value. I was like, I would pay $1,000 to listen to any one of these speakers. And he's putting 30 of them on stage. Wow. And then I did it a second time, and now he's doing it this third time. And again, I would pay $1,000 to listen to any one of these speakers, and there's 4 of them. And what Keaton stands for, and I know I'm getting sidetracked, but I believe it's what you stand for as well, is just blessing people's lives.
Yeah.
And just adding value to the planet, which is one thing I admire about him, of course, but it's one thing I admire about you. And you believe in people, and you I think that you have this, you said proud mama moment.
Yes.
But you have this gift to see what's possible for the people that you work with. And that is beautiful.
I think you have that too.
I try.
It's probably why you see it in me. You see in other people what you have in yourself. Yeah.
Well, Kelly, I'm so honored to have you on the show.
Thank you.
I was tickled. I've been anticipating this with a lot of excitement.
Yeah, we've been talking about it for a while.
Forever.
We finally made it
We
happen.
did it. And then we have our event coming up.
Yes.
Where you're going to be emceeing. And I'm so stoked for that because you're going to take good care of our audience, which is what really matters. And then you have your cruises coming up. I know that those people that are listening to this recording live, you've got one, something coming up in the next couple weeks.
The January 2025 cruise deadline is in 2 weeks.
Okay. So for those watching live, that's coming up.
I have 4 cabins open left.
Wow.
So
out of how many?
Out of 16.
Well done. That's sick.
And every cabin is a balcony.
Okay.
We only do balconies on my cruises.
Good, because cabin with portholes suck.
Oh, or those interiors with nothing.
Yeah, no.
Pitch black.
Titanic, please? Nope.
Yeah, no way.
Too soon?
Not too soon.
Well, we had a part 2 a few years ago, so I just want to respect the tragedy that happened there. That was awful. Oh my gosh, I saw this graph. I have a macabre sense of humor sometimes. I saw this graph that was like a timeline of deaths caused by the Titanic, and then like the 1914 spike, and then it was nothing, and then the last one.
Oh my gosh.
It was like, that's terrible. Aww. You can't do that. Stop. Anyway, so speaking of things that are wonderful about cruises instead of like terrifying about cruises, I'm so glad that you're going to be filling up on that. So the deadline's in a couple weeks.
For 2025.
For 2025 January cruise in the Caribbean?
Yes, we're going to the Bahamas, Haiti, and Jamaica.
Wow.
And I just added my second cruise of the year.
Really?
To Alaska.
Shut up.
In
when?
Exactly a year. September 22nd.
Is that going to be like terribly freezing? I thought summer cruises were going to Alaska.
No, not in September.
No kidding. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, they only do cruises to Alaska up until the end of September. And then they don't.
Yeah, I can't blame them.
That's the only time you can.
Icebergs and stuff.
So from June to September is when it's open. What did you say?
I said icebergs and stuff. It's bad for boats, historically speaking.
Icebergs are definitely bad for boats. But we're going in September. So that deadline is not for, I think it's in April or May.
Well, and where do people find out about these? Where should I send them?
kellykWalker.com/cruise.
Okay.
And you just click on I have 4 cruises listed.
Okay. We'll put that in the show notes. So if you're watching this on anywhere but YouTube, check the show notes, but also go to YouTube and check the show notes there and make sure you click on that. Yeah. Where do people find you if they just want to see your events or work with you or like follow you on Instagram? What's your best way to connect with people?
Facebook is really easy. That's where I'm mostly active. kellykWalker.com. Mm-hmm. And on Facebook, it's Kelly K. Walker. Everywhere else, TikTok, YouTube, everything is Speaking Coach Kelly.
Awesome.
So I'm easy to find.
Awesome. Well, we'll plaster that all over the show notes. Kelly, thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
Tell Lynn, thank you for letting me steal you for the morning. I know that Wednesdays are super busy, but it's a blessing to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm so glad we finally did it.
Yay! Kelly Walker, everybody, check her out. Thank you for being here on the Marianne Hickman Show, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Great, good job.
If I can make him laugh behind the scenes, mission accomplished.
That's your best.
Yeah,
that's your best day.
Yeah.
Now just say goodbye to everyone watching live.
What's up?
We got a couple of people. I think actually, I just noticed. I think Lynn is watching live right now.
Yay!
So
Hi,
Lynn. He chimed in a little bit ago. He said he wants to be a judge, but
yes, Lynn has really stepped into speaker coaching.
I saw his Facebook that he's like, I guess I have to be a speaker now, and like,
yeah, and he like. At Speak Up on Tuesday nights, we go to this thing, and he gives feedback to the speakers, and I'm like, dang, I didn't even notice that. That was really good.
Wow.
His brain, his reticular activating system has shifted into speaking way more than you would have.
Wow.
Awesome.
Yeah. Lynn, I love you, but took you long enough.
Rafiki.
Yeah. I forgot. Call me that.
Oh my gosh. He was giving a speech at a thing, and he started to tell the story of, when he left the event, Mentor Maker.
Yeah.
Mentor Academy?
No, Mentor Maker. That's what it was.
We were leaving that first event, and you said you had somebody go take care of the stage, and you ran out down the hallway to stop him. And you told him he could be the next Kirk Duncan. Do you remember that?
Uh-huh.
So he started telling that story and how, he was really resisting it. And then he was talking about the Lion King and the monkey that was telling Simba who he really was. And I was like, oh, you're calling Marianne Rafiki? Oh my gosh. I was laughing so hard in the audience. It totally distracted him. And I should have shut up. But I was laughing so hard.
Do you know what my first fear was?
What?
I thought I smacked him.
No, you didn't.
I have done that to people before.
You energetically smacked him.
Okay. I was really afraid that I actually smacked him.
No, you didn't.
And I was like, did I hit Lynn? I don't remember.
No, you're good.
Oh my gosh.
You hit him with a who you are stick.
Good.
But he fought it for a long time, but he is finally embracing it.
That's beautiful.
Freaking you are awesome. His Rafiki.
And now he's running marathons and doing all these
things.
Is
that insane?
That's freaking awesome.
Dude. He hurt his hip though. He's been going to a chiropractor who's fixing him. He had to get ozone shots in his hip.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Huh.
Crazy.
Well, I wish lots of healing.
Because he did a mountain marathon.
Oh, those can be hard on all your joints.
The road ones are fine. But when he did the mountain one, he felt something pop in his hip.
I can feel it.
Yes.
I don't want to feel it.
So,
do we have anyone else that says hi online? I want to make sure I say hi to everybody.
No one else has commented or said anything. I want to point out, though, I just want to say, I think it's really cool. There are some podcasters, guests that come on, and we were talking about this before. They turn it on when it's actual podcast time, and then it ends. You guys have been the same the whole time.
I know, right? Right. We're just talking and recording it. That's all great. Podcasts are. It's the best podcasts are just hey, you get to listen to our conversation.
Yeah.
Are you going to keep going with your podcast? We were talking about that a little bit before, but are you going to reignite it?
I haven't decided. I kind of let the Queen of Manifesting podcast retire.
It was number one in so many categories for a while.
But I started a new one.
Yeah. Okay.
Public Speaking Tips and Tales with Speaking Coach Kelly. And I have 12 episodes out.
Yes.
So I interviewed Ann Washburn last week.
You did?
Uh-huh. And I was like, tell me all about your TED Talk.
That's awesome. Michelle McCullough, I think, just won a award of the National Speaker Hall of Fame.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and that was a tough one. You should. That one takes you have to have so many stages and get paid so much on average per stage and all of that to even qualify for the award. Yeah. So,
do you go to National Speakers Association meetings?
I need to. I've been looking into those.
I went for a while, but I had that. I put everybody there on a pedestal. I was like, I do not belong here. But yeah, I need to go. All my clients go.
Yeah.
So it's ridiculous that I don't go.
Well, and that's what I thought about Toastmasters too. I mean, I should just go get to know those people. And
yes, because you have one right by you.
I know. I looked it up. It's from a mile
and
away.
They're really cute. It's in a retirement home clubhouse.
Oh,
and I've gone there several times just to visit. They're awesome. You should go.
Everyone that went through Mentor Maker always won awards at Toastmasters. Oh. Every single person.
Remember when I used to send you my ribbon every week?
Yes. Well, Marianne did the same thing too.
Best evaluator, best. Yeah. I've won probably at least 1,000 ribbons.
Oh my gosh. You put them on your wall.
I should. They're just randomly strewn throughout my house.
Make wallpaper out of them.
That'd be really pretty,
right?
Because they're navy blue with silver metal, metallic ink. So they are really pretty.
Yeah, I thought about doing a penny wall on this wall, like gluing pennies to the wall, right?
Yeah,
but I didn't know what it would do to the lights, and I don't know how heavy it would be.
The sound would have been
sound would have been awful.
Oh yeah,
yeah, the sound wouldn't have been great either.
This is a better choice.
Yeah,
these are cute. I like these.
They're cool too. Look. They're Velcro.
What? Oh my heck. Okay, that's awesome.
We need to move them. It's every time we come in here, it bugs me that I can see the outlet in the gap of that one.
Oh, I didn't notice till you said it.
It bugs me so much.
I didn't notice till you said it.
I know.
Oh, really?
No, they will. We just need to move them.
Oh, they'll move, he says.
Anyway.
I like them.
Well,
thank you for being on with this live.
Yeah,
thank you for being on
off.
YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok. Where else are we?
X.
Yeah, or no, it failed to launch on X for some reason. But yeah.
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, it finally worked. We finally got a live stream to work on LinkedIn.
Wow.
I know, right?
That's impressive.
Thanks to him. I don't know anything about that.
I could not get it to work for the longest time. It would just fail every time for some stupid reason, but we got it to work this time.
I'm so glad.
Nice.
I'm so glad. Well, go get some lunch. Thanks for hanging with us. Watch this episode to drop just in a few weeks here. And then again, Kelly's showing